I knew I wanted to live a difficult life. I craved a difficult circumstance.
Why?
I don't know, but I think you just know it sometimes when you're a kid. I don't want to do anything easy. And that's why when I found stand-up and I became that thing, I was so gratified and comfortable. You know how much difficulty is the right amount for you. Too much is not good, not enough is not good. There's a range that we all seek as humans.
But you'll push it.
Saying that as a man, your life is supposed to be shit. My argument to this is people go, oh, I don't feel good. I say, good. Your life as a man is going to be terrible the entire time.
Life isn't going to be easier, but you could go. Let me give you an example.
Sure.
When Jesus was walking on the water, this is the example I say. When a storm hits, the storm is still hitting.
Yep.
But there's a difference from you drowning in the storm or standing above the storm.
Absolutely.
And I think that you're always going to have challenges and obstacles.
Storms are going to come.
But I guarantee you, there's obstacles that you could walk through with a smile on your face that another man could fall apart.
When you want to achieve the highest goal of all time, you are going to have to learn how to get your ass kicked all the way up that damn mountain. And then when you get up the mountain, the oxygen up there is very thin. It's hard to breathe. So it's not a lot of fun up there either. So all the way, if you want to be successful, you got the bottom that sucks, the middle is extremely hard, in the top, it sucks worse than all of it.
But when you get into those later rounds and fatigue sets in, and then fatigue makes you start to fucking doubt yourself, and then you start to wonder, can I even make it through the rest of this round? And then you start to think, am I gonna fucking die right now? And these kids dig fucking deep, and they just, like you said, all the other shit flies out the window, and now they're just on fucking autopilot to fight and win.
Got to go into that hellhole of life that you have that f***ed you up and fix it. And that's what I'm here to do.
You got to go to war with yourself before there's peace.
That's what I say in the
That's
book.
what you say in the book.
You must go to war with yourself before you find peace. So I'm trying to give you tools on how to do that. And I'm not going to sit here and smile and be happy about it. It's a hard journey. It's a real journey. It's a journey that's going to take you way outside of being comfortable. You'll be very, very uncomfortable. If you pan it down here, you see it's about 3 o'clock in the morning and there's not a car or a person in sight. If you pan over here, it's the same thing. Not a car or a person in sight. There's not a motherfucker that's up. There's not a car, there's not a person. Everybody's in their bed, sleep, dreading that it's a Monday, hate it's a Monday. And I'm loving it. I'm loving that. Where everybody's getting weaker, I'm getting stronger. It's not about the running, the swimming, the push-ups, the sit-ups. It's about what those things do for your mentality. You don't get better on the daggone couch. You get better by coming out here and getting the after it every daggone day.
And you should be facing adversity.
We should be.
You should be facing adversity in the midst of change.
It shouldn't be easy.
Should be earned. Should be earned.
Should be earned.
Because that means you put your time in. And that means that this is how greatness is created, when you show up to create when you don't feel like it. When you sit with yourself and not allow your mind to go to the past and all the problems and all the things, and instruct your mind to go to that vision of the future, that's a victory.
Everything worth doing is hard. And the more worth doing it is, the harder it is. The greater the payoff, the greater the hardship. If it's hard, good. It means no one else will do it more for you.
I think a lot of entrepreneurship and even personal growth is training yourself on how you respond to hard. Because in the early days, hard was, ooh, stop. This isn't good. This is a warning sign. This is a red flag. I should slow down, or I should stop, I should pivot.
Well, I'll just say I came to a place in life where I just didn't like me anymore. I looked in the mirror and I'm like, I will not spend the next 50 years with this guy like I have the last 50. I don't like me. Nobody around likes me. I can't. Catalyst just came about, and I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I had had a small heart attack. And I knew it was a heart attack. And I was at the point, I'm not kidding, I lay there in bed and I felt it come on. And so I had to make some decisions. What's making me like this? I need to get it out of my life. And there were people.
The fastest growth periods are often the most miserable. If you want progress, get used to pain. The worst thing that's ever happened to you is the worst thing that's ever happened to you.
That's part of your personality. Part of the reason why you're not successful at 40 years of age has to be you. Has to be. Some of it has to be. I mean, it could be a fucking avalanche of bad luck, one thing after the other, but I would like to see that you're making progress towards a better direction. But if you're stuck in this modality, if you're stuck in this mindset of, the world fucks me over, it's like never gonna, no one's gonna want to be with you.
It's hard when you're young to wake up in the off season at 6 a.m. to go train and work out, knowing that all your friends are sleeping in and eating pancakes. It's hard when you're on your way to practice, weighed down with all your gear, and it's 90 degrees out and all the other kids are at the pool or at the beach, and your body is already completely exhausted from workouts and 2-a-days.
You had to make different choices, and the hardest part about change is not making the same choices the day before, and that means you're going to get uncomfortable. You stop doing the same things, the same habits, sitting on the couch, whatever it was. You didn't have time to complain, that stuff.
I just remind myself, this is where most people stop, and this is why they don't win. And this relates to another one, which is a reminder for the gladiators in the arena who feel beat up and scarred with no hope in sight. Building a business is hard. Hard feels shitty. This is what hard feels like. And this is why most people can't do it, but you can. This is what hard feels like. How on earth do you think that you're going to be able to move mountains and get out of that relationship that you don't like and move countries or change career when you can't not hit snooze, even though last night you promised yourself that you weren't going to hit snooze? And it's how people that are able to do extraordinary things have been able to get there, that they've just started off unbelievably small.
When you're growing in a business, it's very painful. When you're stagnating in a business and you're plateaued and you don't know what to do, it's very painful. When you're declining and you also don't know what to do, it's very painful. And so that means that all conditions of reality are painful. And so if pain is a prerequisite for reality, then it means it's just a signal that we are alive. And so in thinking about that, rather than pain as a problem, it is a signal that I'm breathing.
It's scary when you find a thing that you're going to fully commit yourself to the pursuit of, especially if it's excellence that you're going after, because there's no more room for your inadequacies to hide anymore. You can't decide to change direction and do something else if things get tough. There's no more ejector seat, right? I've committed to this. This is my thing. And this is one of your rules, commit to something
Commit to at least one thing.
as hard as you can and see what happens. Most of the gains in life come from suffering in the short term so you can get paid in the long term. I think
that's classic.
Winning the marshmallow test on a daily basis.
I believe in indulging yourself. I like to indulge myself in certain self-resentments and frustrations and go, you know what? I really suck at that. I'm going to get great at that.
Did it eventually work?
It did, but it took 2 years. It's about how I think poker is a horrible thing. The mood in this room is horrible. Why are we trying to get our friends' money? These are our friends. Why would we want their money? So, it was kind of a subtle thing, but I wanted to express that.
When you expect to feel like you always want to go to the gym or always want to do your taxes or always want to do whatever it is you think is important, you have made a grand illusion. Some of the time, you will not want to do the thing. The motivation will spike here. What it takes to get the thing done is up here. And at that point, there's not an amount of motive. You're all done motivating. It's still not enough.
You have to stay in that third painful place, because staying in the pain is what gives you the catalyst to learn how to get out of pain. And so rather than trying to pull your parachute, it's like, I have to trudge through this so that it forces me to learn.
Everything involves a degree of pain, a degree of practice, a degree of drudgery.
Yeah.
There's nothing that's going to come easy in life. So skill that you're going to learn is going to involve that. And if you're not connected to it in a deep way like you weren't with music, you're never gonna learn fast enough, you know, and you're just gonna burn out too early.
So if you wanted to create a new personal reality, a new life, you would have to change your personality. And the first step in that is becoming conscious of your unconscious thoughts, those thoughts that say, I can't, it's too hard, I'll never change, it's my ex's fault, it's a, whatever,
It's always the ex.
Or if you really truly wanted to be a happy person, you would have to stop complaining. You would have to stop blaming, you'd have to stop allowing your environment to control how you're feeling and thinking. And if you truly wanted to become a new personality, you would have to decide that the emotion of lack cannot belong in an abundant person. Oh, this is where the rubber hits the road now.
At some point, everything's gonna go south on you. Everything's gonna go south, and you're gonna say, this is it. This is how I end. Now, you can either accept that, or you can get to work. That's all it is. You just begin. You do the math. You solve one problem, then you solve the next one, and then the next. And if you solve enough problems, you get to come home.
What are you prepared to sacrifice? Psychologically, physically, existentially, relationally, socially, in terms of your self-esteem, your confidence, everything, right? All of that. Because if there's even a part of you that's thinking, well, I'm going to do this, but I'm going to balance it because I want to feel satisfied, I want to feel comfortable with myself, and so on and so forth. That's fine for as long as it contributes to your performance within the domain that you're competing in. But as soon as you sacrifice any output in that, that's just an opening for somebody else that's the competitor that's going to come in and get it.
Yeah. My new norm is you get up every morning at 4 o'clock and you suffer. This is your new norm. That became my new life. Most people want to get out of it. I said, no, this is your new life. This is who you are. Your new norm is you wake up and you suffer. And I started realizing if that's my mentality, this shit ain't hard anymore. Right. Your new norm is you wake up, you get in the cold water, you're gonna be here till the shit's done.
Well, if you want patience, then you're not going to get things quickly. If you want to have endurance, it's like you have to be able to tolerate suffering, right? If you want to be wise, it's like you're going to have to get burned. My ultimate, long-term goal is just to become the person that the best version of me, right? And I think that in order for that to happen, I will have to go through pain. And so the follow your passion, moniker also creates this emotionality that gets you to quit when you really are on the right path. And this is just part of it.
And what that is this. If you do 130 hours, every second you have to win. If you lose 1 second of that 130 hours, you will not be a Navy SEAL. In life, it's the same way. If you lose 1 second, not take a break, if you make a bad decision and just hang it up in that 1 second, you will regret it. You must win every second. You must be in control of your life every second of your life, or you will lose. So that's the biggest thing. Never forget your goals. Many dreams die while suffering. Don't be one of those people whose dreams die.
So the process of change in the meditative model requires unlearning and relearning. Requires breaking the habit of the old self and reinventing a new self. What we say in neuroscience, pruning synaptic connections and sprouting new connections, unfiring and unwiring and refiring and rewiring, unmemorizing emotions that are stored in the body and then reconditioning the body to a new mind and to a new emotion. No longer signaling the same genes in the same way, but signaling new genes in new ways. Beginning to pull your energy out of the past and beginning to invest your energy into the future.
Things go wrong. They always seem to happen at once, and they just compound on top of each other. And it's pretty easy sometimes to feel beaten. That doesn't mean give up. In fact, it means the opposite. It means it's time for you to fight harder, to dig in.
The hardest part of any meaningful work is not so much the work itself. It's the identity shift that you must endure from someone who protects their image to someone who risks it. If you can do that once and procrastination stops being a dragon, instead it becomes what it always was. You don't need courage to begin. You just need the willingness to be seen beginning.
I didn't want to keep forgiving myself on Sunday and then repeat and do the same shit again Monday, Tuesday, Friday, and then go, oh, now I can be forgiven. I was like, no, man. Forgive me, Father. I know what I'm doing, and I'm keep doing it. Cut the shit, McConaughey. Quit giving yourself that out, that parachute.
Everybody's afraid of failure. It's embarrassing as shit. So how do you think I became successful when I failed every day of my life until I succeeded, which took a long time? The first thing I did was all of you in this room want to be successful as hell. But the journey to success comes with a lot of what? Failure. So why the don't you teach yourself, like I taught myself, is how to fail? All that pain, it was confirmation. It was confirmation that I had gone through a crucible and I had figured out another level of David Goggins, a level that I thought was humanly impossible for anybody to do. When I was at mile 70 and shit and all over myself and had 30 more miles to go and I was damn near dead, and I was able to go 31 more miles.
We discovered that when you're sitting with yourself and you go past the point where you would normally stop because of your disbelief, you go past that point, that's when the brain changes the most. That's when you're stepping into the unknown.
What does that moment look like for people? Like, what is
that? That moment looks like I want to quit. That moment looks like I want to give up. That's the end of their emotional belief. But if you show up to be a creator in spite of those voices, in spite of the mismanagement of your attention and energy and not having enough time, or feeling, something happened in your day and it caused you to not want to create, the days that you show up anyway, and you remember that's the belief in your future.
I realize you go higher, you go even more alone. Why? Because nobody is willing anymore to invest their energy in going higher, because it's becoming more difficult. They say, oh, it's already okay here. Why you still want to move up there? The air is getting thinner over there. It's getting more hard to breathe. It's getting more dangerous, whatever. So that means along this way, the higher you want to go, the more likely you're gonna walk alone. This is the next thing. In one sentence, I always remember again, along the way to mastery, you walk the way alone.
Your biggest enemy is you. My whole book is about you battling yourself. People don't understand it's you against you. The only person that gets in your way is you. Nobody else. It's you.
Purpose is you. We forget that. Every day I wake up and I don't want to do some shit. I'm like, okay, man, do you want to be a today? Do you want to feel like a little bit? Do you want to walk around all day knowing that you could, but you didn't? So it's perform without purpose. You have to learn how to get up and do shit when you ain't got no 5K, no 10K, nothing. Nothing exists.
For me, it always comes back to perseverance, persistence, high pain tolerance, an ability to suffer through discomfort, a welcoming of doing hard things, and willingness, really. What are you willing to do? What are you willing to do different? How willing are you? Are you willing to make this your number one priority? And a lot of people will put words to that, but only time will tell whether those words are followed up by the action that demonstrates the level of willingness that is required to actualize anything of meaning in this world.
One of the strongest reframes for suffering is that it gives you the opportunity to create evidence of the person who you want to be. And so it's like, I cannot say that I'm the type of man who can withstand hard things without having gone through hard things.
That is the becoming process, and that's how you arrive at that vision. And this energy is the energy that takes you there. And you got to be able to bring that up on your own. That means you got to come out of your resting state. And that when coming out of your resting state and not allowing or waiting for someone or something to do it for you, but doing it on your own, wow, there's sovereignty and there's empowerment in that. That's how any person arrives at their dream. They just don't let their energy drop. And if they do, they get back into that state again. And they earn the belief in themselves.
I did have a real belief, whether I was tricking myself or not, that there's a bigger pot of gold for me on the other side of this if I just out-endure it. I'll out-endure this summit. And it became a little like the year in Australia. I started to gain pride and honor with the longer the penance went on of being without what I wanted. And I started to be like, well, I definitely ain't backing out now, man. I'm 6 months in.
Turns into momentum.
All in a year later, I'm like, I'm a year in, man. This is getting good. Okay, come on.
How could I be successful faster? And he said simply, he said, double your rate of failure. If you want to be successful faster, fail more often. It says the more you fail, the more likely you are to succeed. The less you fail, the less likely you are to succeed. So the key is, if you want to be successful, don't be afraid of failure. Failure makes you strong. There's an old saying that what doesn't kill me makes me stronger. Failure has made you strong. Failure has developed your character. It's failure that makes us strong, but it's the fear of failure that kills us. And the way that you deal with the fear of failure is, once you've decided what your dreams are and what you want to do, act as if it were impossible to fail. Imagine it were impossible to fail. Say, by gum, I can do that, and just start to think of all the benefits of achieving that goal, and then act boldly. Confront your fears. Do the thing you fear, and the death of fear is certain.
The power of wanting to be down with a bunch of people that really don't care about you can destroy your life. It can mess your life up, even if it's not about crime. It could be about, I just want to be down with these people in college because they supposed to be the in crowd, or I just want to be down with these people because they do business, or I just want to be down. It could mess you up, because what it do is it remove you from you. And now you got to be somebody else to be accepted by some other human beings that breathe like you, got 24 hours like you, that drink the same water you drink.
I'm not spending the rest of my life working in a factory and sitting here and doing this. I'm going to go chase the dream that I've had since I was a child. And so my wife and our infant, she flew to Hawaii to stay with her dad, and sold everything we had, which wasn't much. And I got a saddle and my gear, and took a Greyhound bus to up into Idaho, and then wasn't nobody there to pick me up that was supposed to pick me up. So I hitchhiked.
Taking full accountability for your life with all of the deficiencies that you have may be the most painful thing that you do, when you look at yourself in the mirror and say, this is my fault. But in saying, this is my fault, those are also the first 2 steps of progress, because it's my fault, not anyone else's, which means it's my responsibility and my action that can change that. And I think that marrying short-term pain with long-term progress is one of the first connections that most people who are on that path have to make.
What had been the focus of my entire adult life was gone, and it was devastating. I really didn't know what to do for a few months. I felt that I had let the previous generation of entrepreneurs down, that I had dropped the baton as it was being passed to me. I met with David Packard and Bob Noyce and tried to apologize for screwing up so badly. I was a very public failure, and I even thought about running away from the valley. But something slowly began to dawn on me. I still loved what I did. The turn of events at Apple had not changed that one bit. I'd been rejected, but I was still in love. And so I decided to start over.
In my life, and realizing, oh wait, the structure and the discipline makes me feel better. It fills me with more confidence and ability to go do other things rather than taking away.
Regardless of whether it's in service of becoming Mr. Olympia.
Yeah, and I mean, I know those things, but like you said, it was all of a sudden it was like, oh, well, I'll just cut one meal out because like I'm busy now. Oh, well, my shoulder's injured, so I'm gonna do my rehab, but like I don't really want to.
Your failure and then you're getting back up. The man who never failed has no glory. The man who fell and got back up, that's where his glory is. The man who fell 20 times and got up 21 times, that man has even greater glory. Wow. That man has more courage, way more courage than the guy who was so strong from birth that he never failed. There's no glory in that.
You know, f*** your tired body, f*** that unmotivated mind, and get out there and do it anyway. You know, you better fight yourself, because you're not only winning when things are going your way. You got to figure out how to win when things aren't going your way. You got to figure out when your body's fighting you, when your mind's fighting you. How do you still, you know, just say, F it, I'm gonna beat my mind today.
And I remember that was one of the things, like, you're not going to break me. No matter what you say, I'll die right here in this water. I don't care. And that mindset has really been beneficial throughout the entire process. Because there's parts of BUD/S and parts of being in special operations where you think it's going to kill you. And then at a certain point, you just don't care. If it kills me, I don't care. And you get through it.
Tools, your life was basically the perfect grounds for training for where you need to go in your life. All the beatings, all the bullying, all the, you going through learning disabilities, all the struggles. It was the absolute perfect training ground for you to go to where you need to go. And that's how I started looking at my life versus woe is me, poopy pants, kick a rock down the street mentality. It was, God just hooked you right the up. He hooked you right up, man, with the perfect place. You were training for the first 18, 19, 20, you were training for this stuff, man. You had the advantage of everybody else versus, my God, they're so above me. They came from a great family. Mom and dad love them. They didn't stutter, they didn't struggle. No, man, your struggle is what made you who you are now.
Remembering that you are going to die is the best way I know to avoid the trap of thinking you have something to lose. You are already naked. There is no reason not to follow your heart.
To achieve true greatness, you must be mad. Madness and greatness are inextricably connected. You can't separate them. To get true greatness, there has to be some demons. There has to be a mad struggle in your mind, and you have to want it so badly. You have to want that result so badly that you are willing to put in more time, more effort, more focus, more hours, and just, you don't get to smell the roses, man.
Never leave the gym knowing I have 5% left. That 5% is magic. It's the magic place where very few people go. You can go there. I'm giving you permission to go there. We'll have people behind you. If you fall down and drop the weight on the floor, who cares? Who cares? But if you make it, I care. I want that. I want you to fail, and I want you to get up and do it again. The same thing in life is the same thing here. If you can do this, you can do anything. Anything.
You don't have to feel good about it. You just have to keep going. The feeling will pass, but you will remain. You are greater than your feelings. Going to bed late and waking up early to work for a few days won't kill you. You're not going to burn out. You're doing what it takes.
I will have to limp the last mile, even if no one's watching, because I can't let the demons in. And if I let the demons in, they'll show up in the 11th round of a championship fight when there's 50,000 people watching me in the audience, and I know deep in my self-story that I'm the type of person that quits when things get hard because I got off that treadmill at mile 9 when no one was watching.
This will be the story that I will one day tell. And that means the harder it is, the bigger the dragon, the more epic the story, and by consequence, the more epic the hero. And if you think about the difference between winners and losers, winners define themselves by what they made happen, and losers define themselves by what happened to them.
Everything is your fault.
Yeah, you can explain it.
Everything is your fault comes back to like you are the CEO of your life. He said, Rob, if you get to the end of your life and it's not what you wanted it to be, and you didn't create the life that you wanted to, make the money that you wanted to, have the success, the love, the happiness, travel the places that you wanted to, whose fault would it be? And I said, it'd be my fault. And he said, if you did create the life that you wanted to, had the love, the happiness, the abundance, everything that you wanted, whose fault would that be? And I said, it'd be my fault. And he said, the problem with you is you're treating this life as if you're the victim. And what you need to realize that everything that happens to you is your fault, and that your life won't change until you decide that you want to be the CEO of your life.
And it's scarier still to say, okay, I want that. It's scary because you're afraid that if you put your heart and soul into it and you fail, then how are you going to feel about yourself, right? So being fearless means putting yourself out there and going for it. No matter what, go for it. Not for anybody else, but for yourself.
This is your limitation. You have not went beyond that yet. And so on the one side, this is motivating to me, but on the other side, it also just cultivates this constant drive, this constant fire. And why do I think fire is as important as water is? Just to say it right away, But it is that fire that nourishes us to do things. Fire is the active part about us. There's so much available about all these things. Well, then certainly laziness is not in there.